through that. Hey guys, so it's me again. So the first video was like a vlog, and I thought the second video would just be me share my testimony. I think that'd be really great for like a really great like foundation for my channel, just so that you know like what I've been through and who I am and why I am the way that I am. So let's just get right into it. So I am a first generation Christian. Growing up, like my parents never took me to church. So when I was about 5 or 6 or so, like I lived in this neighborhood and there was this church right next to the neighborhood, and they would take this long like school bus and they would come and pick up all the kids in the neighborhood every Sunday morning. So they would take you to church on Sunday morning, and then Wednesday nights was like I think it was called Awanas, which was like kind of like a Bible study. Like we moved out of that neighborhood once I finished middle school. So I
stopped going to church.
growing up, like I was always like bullied a lot. Like I struggled with depression for like a really long time, and on top of that, so my mother is actually a drug addict alcoholic who's been a drug alcoholic for the entirety of my life. Dealt with addicts in the family, but it's very emotionally and mentally like draining. They're very abusive and neglectful, and just all the works, and they destroy all the relationships that they have. And so my parents were still together, but they were like codependent, so like it strained like the relationship that I had on my parents because of the relationship that they had with each other. And I got into high school, and I like 9th grade year, like I remember I was just like a hermit crab, or kermit, I don't know how you say it, but like I just didn't like talk to anybody. I didn't go anywhere. Like I went to class and I went home, and that was it. And so like 10th grade year, I was like, you know, like I kind of want to be like more sorry, I'm picking my hair. I want to be more like sociable. Like I want to be like, I want to go places, I want to do things, and I kind of wanted to start going to the basketball games and the football games, but like I never had a ride to go. And so I always used to see like these group of kids that I knew went to Young Life, which is a youth ministry in my community. So they would always like go, and they said that the Miss Tamika, which is my Young Life leader, she would take them. And I was like, oh, okay, like I want to ride. I want to start going to Young Life. So I started going to Young Life, and I would always like text her like, hey, like I want to ride. And she'd be like, the van is full. And I'd be like,
Wow.
the only reason I got to Young Life is so I get a ride. Like this doesn't make any sense. And then one day the kids were like, yeah, so like if you're a junior leader, like you get first pick, like and so I was just like, oh, okay, like sign me up, like whatever junior leader is, like that's what I want to be, because I want rides to these games. And so I signed up for it, and they're like, yeah, so you stay after school on Wednesday, Miss Tamika comes and picks us up, and we do Young Life for the middle schoolers. We help out all day long. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what? Like I don't want to do none of that. So I ended up doing it, and it changed my life. Like best decision I ever made to this day. And the next thing I know, they're like, yeah, and we're going to weekend work crew this weekend. You're going to Young Life camp, and we're going to be servers. And I really loved it. And they have this like on Saturday, they have this thing called like 15 minutes of silence, where after a talk has been told to you, and it's like give your life to Christ so that he can give you new life. This was in November. In February, I got to go to camp as a camper, so that I can experience that myself. And so I used to remember the day, I want to say it's like February 16th, 2013, is when I decided to give my life to Christ. Like I didn't want to be like depressed anymore. Like I want him to take control of my life, and I want to live for him, and whatever he has for me, like I want to do it. My Young Life leader saw that I had such a great time at work crew, that she recommended that I do a summer long work crew session, which it was such an empowering experience, and it was something that like I could have never imagined. Like God is just so good, and he was so grateful that summer. He opened my eyes to so many things. And so like I started to work more on my relationship with God and going to church and reading the Bible. And at 19, I finally decided to move out on my own into a 1-bedroom apartment. And so this was 2016. I moved out on my own in February of 2016. And so my dad had prostate cancer for about 10 years before that, and I knew about it, but I thought that, obviously he was still alive, so something the doctors and he were doing was working. And so I was just like trusting that, and so I moved out and enjoying being out on my own. And my dad was getting sicker and sicker, and I didn't even really realize it until quite late into the year. And finally, my mother texted me sometime that summer before August, because his birthday's in August. So we found out before August that the doctors gave him 6 months left to live. And that was really, really hard to deal with. Like, he was my dad. He'd raised me. Like, a lot of people don't get to be raised by their dads. A lot of people don't have. By New Year's Eve, we were in the hospice care center because he was in his final days apparently, and I'm trying not to get like teary-eyed because it's a lot. And so he made it into the new year. He made it into 2017. That was really awesome that that was our last year going into the year with him, and we were all together. And then he died 3 days later. It was really hard. It's really hard to see someone that like you shared your life with and like raised you like be gone. And so like that entire like almost rest of the year was just like, oh my gosh, such a blur. Like and it's so funny, like I started nursing school, but I did terrible because like I was dealing with like PTSD and just like bipolar depression, and like I didn't really spend time with God. My sister and I, we had actually moved into an apartment together, and I just kind of went through the motions of life. And so finally, like a beginning of 2018, like I started back going to church, and I started back reading my Bible, and I started back praying and just like asking God to heal my heart, because I can't keep living the way that I was. Pretty much like my relationship with God has just been maturing since then. Like I have learned so much about Jesus and learned so much about myself, and learned that like as a Christian, as someone who says that I believe in God, is not enough. Like, we're supposed to follow God. We're supposed to live like Jesus. Like, literally, we're supposed to follow after God. And like in the Bible, like he literally sent Jesus to show us like how to live a Christ-like life, like how to serve, how to preach, and to just be there for like other people. And so like I'm just so grateful that God like continued to reach for me, and like I just want everybody to know that like he continues to reach for everybody the way that he reaches for me, and like he wants that relationship with you, and he wants to heal you, and he wants to be there for you the same way that he was for me. Just know that like God loves you, and like I just wanted to encourage you guys, and like I'm just welcoming you guys to my YouTube channel and tell you guys a little bit about me and my struggles that I'm dealing with. And I just hope that you guys are willing to come along with me on this journey. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.